Yo, welcome back. This is Stu42 with another Minecraft video, and today more bees, more bee stuff anyway. So last time we built this sort of setup, and if you're watching this straight after the last episode, you'll notice that this is now flipped around. I discovered I was probably going to run into some logistics issues with how we're going to place stuff out, so I actually ripped it all up, placed it in sort of mirrored so that we've got our incubators along here towards our gene pool at the end. I've also thrown a bunch of forest drones that I had sitting around, and we've now got a full tank of DNA. So the next thing we're going to need is we're going to need an isolator, and we're going to need I think it's a polymerizer. So the polymerizer is this, pretty easy stuff. Yeah, no dramas there building that. The isolator, however, does have these enzymes as part of the recipe, so we're lucky we've sort of done this ahead of time because we've got these enzymes here that we can use to make that. I've actually gone ahead and made a bunch of these things already, so we're gonna need another incubator, which I was gonna put here, and I'm gonna need now one of them needs something specific. The isolator, I think, one of them needs ethanol and DNA. I think it's the polymerizer. So I think the polymerizer needs DNA and ethanol, so I'm going to put that one there, and that just leaves the isolator, which will need, so it needs some enzyme as well. Or it needs something there. Actually, that might be DNA. There's some DNA dye anyway. So this thing here is going to make a different concoction called, what's it called? It's called like activated bacteria or something. Either way, it uses blaze powder. So we're going to grab ourselves, no cutting the video this time as well, straight into it, as I had all this stuff already built up. So let's grab some cable. Oh, wait a second. We're going to need... I made some more flux as well. Wow, I'm really organised this time around. So we've got one there and one there. Let's power these bad boys up. Oh, actually, there's going to be... Yep, there's going to be one there as well. And one, oops, there, so they can go that way, that can go that way, and that can go, why not that way, sure. Alright, so power done, let's just throw that back in there. Now export bus to here, and we'll go like this because we're going to need put the blaze in there. So the blaze is going to go in there, and we're also going to need some of this stuff. So what this incubator produces is bacteria. Forgot some tubes. Hardened fluid duct. Let's just grab a few of those. Bit of running backwards and forwards. So that can go like that. There we go. So we're going to use that with blaze powder, and this should make bacteria vector. So bacteria vector is what we're going to want from there, and that's going to feed through from there to there. Awesome. So this is going to need bacteria vector and whatever that is, which I'm afraid I can't remember. So I might have to cut for a little bit and just make sure I've got everything straight. Vector is pretty good though, and we're filling up with blaze powder nicely. Cool. The other thing that we're going to need to do is, the enzyme we're going to need to put somewhere as well. Alright, I'm going to run away for a second. I'm just going to make sure I've got these things around the right way. I'll be back in just a second. Okie dokie, so done a little bit more research. I did have these around the wrong way. Polymerizer is going to need to have whatever comes out of here. I've also replaced this because I don't think it is the blaze powder. I don't think it's bacteria vector at all. I think we need a crafting card and bone meal instead. This should make what turns into Hopefully I'll do some in a second. There we go, polymerising bacteria. I think that's correct because this is the polymerizer, so I would have expected that bacteria to be called that. On the wiki it says replicating bacteria, but I'm pretty sure that polymerising is what we want. We're also going to need the DNA in there, so let's grab the fluid duct there. Now hopefully I've laid this out correctly, so I can do that there, that there. That can be ignored. That can be ignored. Hey, there we go. So we have 2 tanks there, one for DNA, one for polymerizing bacteria, and then there's a bunch of other things that we can, put stuff into. Cool. Right, so the next thing is this one here, the isolator. Now, this is going to need, enzyme, and it's going to need the ethanol. So the ethanol is pretty easy because we have it right there. Ethanol done. And then what we're actually going to do is I'm going to grab some item ducts and run that down to there. And then we will get our wrench. And I'm just going to make sure that doesn't connect through there. Now, the reason this is not actually doing anything at the moment is because I've set it to not output. The reason is when I did the reversal of all that stuff, I had a bunch of enzyme that popped out of it, and you can't actually put the enzyme in back into those output slots. So by output slots, I mean these slots here. I couldn't put the enzymes back in there. So what I've been doing is I've just been topping these up manually for now. Cool, so no items, so no individual, and then we're going to need some stuff here. So this is looking like a pretty good setup. Hopefully we won't have to touch any of these things down the back. We'll only have to touch this thing and this thing. So the next thing to do is to scan some stuff, I guess. So one of the things we're also going to need is we're going to need, I think it's DNA dye. Is that for this one? Let's see how we go. We need something for in there. So we need the serum vial, which is, where is it? Empty serum vial? No, it's not called the serum vial. It's called a blank sequence. Pretty easy. Paper, glass paint, gold nuggets. Let's make some of those. Paper. Got plenty of paper. Glass pane. Gold nuggets. Tons of. Have I done that right? No, I think we're around the wrong way. No. What are we missing? Ah, it's not gold nuggets at all. It's full-on gold. Right, cool. So we can grab some of that. Now we've run out of glass paint, so let's just make some more of those. And there we go, get a stack of them. Why not? Now what I should be able to do is throw those in there. Let's go and grab ourselves a bee. Now I've got a bunch of stuff here. Forest drone, let's grab those. Well, in fact, let's just grab 32 of them. We don't need all of them. Now these ones have been scanned. These ones have been scanned with my BEEEEEES. So they are 3 times offspring, which is probably one of the things we want. The other thing we're really wanting is the tolerant flyer. I think that means it flies during the rain as well, which is a pretty good one to get. So what we should be able to do from here is throw that in there. Oof, and this is going to take a while. So I'm going to run away and let this complete. This is going to finish and hopefully dump some of those traits into these blank sequences. We'll see what we get out. When the bee gets destroyed, I think you've only got a chance to get a trait, or yeah, maybe even only 1 trait per time. So anything you put in here, be prepared to lose. Like I definitely wouldn't be putting any princesses or queens in here, only drones that I've got a ton of. So let's leave that at that for now. I'll be back in a moment once that's finished scanning a bunch of bees. Alrighty, we're back, and I have run a few of the bees through there and got a ton of these Apeiris DNA sequences. Now when they come out not with anything assigned to them. It just has, like, that one has cave dwelling, no, but it has a an unknown sequence thing. So what I've had to do is I've had to build this analyzer. Now, analyzer, pretty easy to build, same sort of thing there. You just throw some power in it, throw some of the DNA, not the fluorescent dye, but the DNA dye into there, and it'll identify these things for you. Once they're identified, this is where the polymerizer comes in. As you can see, this one is gone to average. It's got unsequenced there. So yeah, there's a few confusing things with this newer version. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find that one's flowers, fertility high, so that's the one that I was actually after. Lifespan short is also pretty handy when you're breeding. So I'm going to fill these ones up. It's going to, oh, we're now into strong. So this progress bar happens, and then, yeah, it takes quite a long time to do that. So there is a way to speed it up, however. So if we go here, grab some gold nuggets. I'm pretty sure, hooray, gold nuggets. Okay, so as you can see, that is a lot faster with some gold nuggets in there. So that should fill these up. That's pretty much, I think that's going to be the end of this episode-ish. It's probably worth me mentioning that there is also this sequencer here. Now, the sequencer is also something that you can throw these DNA sequences into. When you put them in there, it adds them to your database. So what you can see here is, see, it says unsequenced, fertility high, unsequenced, fertility high, unsequenced. This thing always doesn't update the interface. It always looks like you've got more sequences in here than you do. It's actually just taking a while for the interface to catch up. So anyway, there we go. Very strong flowers, unsequenced. So unsequenced just means that we haven't run it through the sequencer yet in order to add it to our database. The sequencer is the one that requires the fluorescent dye and a bit of power. I might throw the sequencer down the back here somewhere. Maybe here. So I'll just show you guys how this thing runs. So let's go for that. Sequencer. That down. The dye goes in there. So let's find one, cave dwelling. No, so if I put one of these in here, this actually takes quite a long time to run. So this will be, yeah, it doesn't even have the progress listed there yet. Oh, there we go, 1%. So as you can see, that takes a long time. This seems to destroy this in the process. I'm not sure what the output is for. I did try this just before and it did destroy it. But hopefully that will add it to the database. And then what we can do next time we'll try and do some inoculation, which will be adding some of these things back to some bees. So I'll do that in the next episode though, and we'll hopefully get on to our first sort of bit of breeding. Cool. All right, well, that's it from me for this episode. We've had one episode of getting some of the materials straight. This episode has been about, analyzing, scanning our bees, getting some of those traits out that we want to get out, and then making them, there we go, strong. And as you can see, that's there, but it's not actually there. And yeah, we're on our way to being able to breed our bees pretty successfully, hopefully next episode. All right, so thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.